Hey friends, my name's Stevie Taylor. Welcome to the Gig Life Podcast. My guest today is Sam McNally. Sam is a piano keyboard player, songwriter and composer from Melbourne, but has lived in Sydney now for many years. Stylus, John Farnham, Air Supply, Tim Finn, Tommy Emmanuel, Marcia, Hines, Richard Clapton, to name just a few of his previous gigs, and now he's a long-time member of Doug Williams and the Mix. I was floored when he told me that he'd played the piano part on Air Supply's All Out of Love. Man, I love that song, and I had no idea he played on that. I think I must have wore that record out when I was a kid. Anyways, it was cool to chat with this legend, plenty of wisdom and stories, and I think perhaps the best is yet to come. Ladies and gentlemen, Sam McNally. Cheers. I think we're rolling. Sam McNally, welcome to the Gig Life Podcast.
Thanks for having me, Stevie.
Hey man, too easy. We're in your studio here.
Yep. It's my little cubby house.
Yeah, it's sunny Homebush.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So, what have you been up to?
It's been a little quiet over the Christmas period, and I like that.
Yeah.
It's
Usually pretty historically busy time.
not necessarily for me.
Oh, right, okay.
No, people always say that. My Christmases are sometimes pretty quiet, and I don't mind that.
Yep.
I like the quiet times too. Had a very busy year.
Yep.
And I really enjoyed having some time.
Time away, yeah.
But a few things on the go, a couple of recording things, and some shows coming up that I'm starting to prepare for now.
Okay, we can talk about them
Yeah.
a bit later.
There's always something,
Yeah, that's good.
It's a funny thing being a musician that does lots of stuff, because people who don't know you much, they say, "Oh, what are you doing?" You go, gee, you can't think of it.
Today, or was I doing last week, or what are you asking
It's
me?
different all the time, and
Yep.
they're so used to that.
Yep. All right, man. Let's throw it back to the day one.
The beginnings?
To the beginnings, yes. Are you Sydney born?
Melbourne.
Melbourne, yep.
Melbourne all the way.
Okay.
I was thinking about that before you arrived. We're all from somewhere else.
Well, from somewhere
Well,
else.
not all, but a hell of a
Yeah.
lot of us in the Sydney music community come from somewhere else.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, I was very much Melbourne. I was born in Melbourne and went to school in Melbourne, of course, and grew up into music very much from the Melbourne music scene of the time, late 60s, early 70s. The days of Billy Thorpe and the Aztecs, Healing Force, Fraternity, Spectrum, Chain, Carson, Broderick Smith. I don't know how many of these names you knew. You know.
Billy Thorpe, definitely.
It was an incredibly great music scene.
Yep.
In Melbourne, when bands used to play 3 shows a night and live music every night of the week.
Yep.
It was mad.
Yep.
So, and plus the overseas stuff that we were hearing. Cream, Zeppelin, Sabbath.
Yep.
Allman Brothers, Traffic, and then a little later Floyd, Jethro Tull, groups like that. Purple, Deep Purple. So all that stuff I was taking in enthusiastically.
Yeah.
Santana.
Were you playing at this stage?
Well, I started playing in the last few years of my schooling.
Okay.
68, 69, 70.
And what age is about? 14, 15?
16, 17,
16, okay,
18.
yeah.
And in fact, I can say that I'm still really good mates with 3 of my old schoolmates who I used to play with. Back then we had a school band that we started getting some supports. We supported Chain, we opened for Chain, we opened for Healing Force one night, we opened for Broderick Smith's band Carson. Yeah, Carson.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big thrill back then, you know. Lads from the suburbs, aged 16, 17, and we're doing our 40-minute spot before these guys, you know.
Yeah.
They were incredible times. I mean, everyone wore denim and bearded denim, you know. The whole band would arrive in a transit van and pour out of the van. The roadies would set up the gear and guys would scoot backstage and, you know, mull up.
Yep.
It was a great environment. It was just fantastic.
Yep.
So that went on for some years, and then I was in a couple of bands that got some momentum, but then I joined the group Stylus at the end of '74. Stylus, which still plays.
Yep.
And still plays better than ever.
Yeah.
Slightly different membership.
Yeah.
With the great Jerry Pentazis on drums.
Yep.
And yeah, that was a big break.
For the band or for yourself?
Well, for me personally, I mean, to join Stylus after what was really only my 3rd year out of school.
Right.
And by the end of '75, Stylus had a gold album. We had 2 hit singles and a gold album.
Right.
So the band was like really
straight off the bat.
We were doing stuff, you know. We did a massive tour with Sherbet, and then the following years we did much more stuff after that. But so that was a pretty good entry into the professional music scene. You know? I considered myself very lucky. I do consider myself very lucky. I didn't then. I just went with it.
Yep.
I didn't have a frame of reference, you know. You just do stuff and you think this is how it is.
Yep.
But I didn't have to do an apprenticeship of 10 or 15 hard years of covers bands and wedding bands and cruise ships and things that, you know, I wouldn't have preferred to do.
Mm-hmm.
I went straight into a recording band doing original material and making records and touring at a top level. So it was a good life.
Yeah.
Didn't make much money, but we played what we wanted to play.
Did the not making much money thing come from the fact that the type of deal you had, or were you didn't have the support that you needed to make the more money, or sales, things like that?
I think it was...
You know what I mean? Some people get shitty deals and...
Yeah, it was all of that, and it was also very simple things. Management that wasn't real bright, you know. I'll give you an example. We go into Adelaide in the middle of 1975 with the single number 3. And we're going into some gig in Adelaide for 4 nights for a fee that was negotiated 4 months ago, 6 months ago.
Right.
In other words, we could have been charging 4 times as much.
Right.
You know, a smart manager would go, oh, we're blowing that out. Sorry, the band's worth far more than that now. But no, we just had... There were some things that happened that were not the best, in the best interests of the band's financial health, that's for sure. But, you know, by and large, we did pretty well. What we did do was stay true to the music that we dug.
Yep.
You know, we stuck by that. We were hardcore because we were in a predominantly white rock and roll pop environment, and what Stylus was doing was really music that was informed by American black soul and R&B.
Right.
You know, our favourite bands were Earth, Wind and Fire, The Spinners, Stevie Wonder, Donny Hathaway, and then Hall & Oates. These are the people we were listening to.
Yep.
You know, we weren't excited by the white stuff at all. Even a lot of the British stuff that, because we used to, Countdown.
Yeah.
We used to do Countdown
Yeah.
all the time, and
Right.
it's not a matter of being sneering one's nose at that stuff. It's just that it didn't really, for me personally, it didn't really turn me on. I just loved the funk and R&B grooves.
Yep.
It's really what picked my ear up.
Yep. Yep.
And that, I do a lot of different types of music, but ultimately that's what I love most still. So the train stayed on those tracks.
Yeah, that's good.
So I came to Sydney after Stylus, 4 albums in as many years. The third album was released through Motown in the States, and there was a period of time there where it looked as though things were going to go seriously. We had...
Was this when Motown was in Detroit or when it had moved?
Oh, good question. I'm really not sure. What year did they move to LA? It was 78. I know that for a fact. It was early 78. It might have been after they moved to LA, actually, I think, on reflection. But what happened with that record was we got good trade magazine reviews, Cashbox, Billboard. I've still got the stuff. I've got it somewhere.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. You can imagine what a thrill that was.
Oh yeah.
We make a record in Australia, and no less than Motown picks it up.
Yeah, it's great.
So
how did that come about?
It came about through we had moved to Glenn Wheatley Management. Glenn, who had LRB, the River Band.
Yep.
I don't know specifically how he made the connection. I can't remember if I even heard about it. We heard about it. But it was because Glenn was looking after us. He had LRB with Capital, but somewhere along the way there must have been some interest expressed from the black soul R&B side of the music world fence, so to speak. And one cute thing with that album that went out on Motown, I wish I had a copy to show you, I don't have one. They released that album with different artwork, and they had no pictures of the band on the front or back cover, because they wanted to conceal the fact we were white guys.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
And the front cover artwork, I'll dig it up for you after.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you.
Yep.
It's got a mask.
Yep.
So they played this game of concealing the fact we were white guys.
Right.
White Australian guys at that,
Couldn't go look it up on the internet either.
No, that's right. And so I think we got a little bit of radio play, but then what happened was there were big write-downs with the company, with the parent company, and a whole lot of the labels were dropped. And the label we were on, which is Prodigal, got axed. So the thing was over as quick as it got up. So close but no cigar.
Right.
And then we did a 4th album here in Australia with EMI, and that was an even better record in a sense, or at least as good. But the wind was out of the sails by then, and we just lost the will. We lost. We weren't doing so great with gigs in terms of momentum and crowds, and frankly the money thing. The singles weren't. We weren't getting hits. We weren't getting hit singles. We were doing good albums, but we weren't getting singles hits.
Gotcha.
It came down to that.
Yep.
We still did Countdown with each new release a couple of times, 2 or 3 times. So the band was known, massive good reputation. 78 we opened for George Benson.
Cool.
That classic band, the Breezen band. Not with Harvey Mason, unfortunately. He wasn't on board, but all the rest of the guys were. So, that was a big thing for us to do. 6 shows with Benson. But we weren't getting the sales, we weren't getting the hits. And then with the Motown thing falling over, we basically walked away from it. You know?
Yep.
But the band never split up, we just stopped.
You stopped, yeah.
We stopped playing.
Yep.
And part of the reason was that some of us were getting offers to do other things, you know. So I then moved to Sydney at the end of '79 and started playing with Marcia Hines, and Mark Meyer, who was the drummer for the last period of Stylus and did the last record with us. He was already with Marcia.
Yeah.
So I teamed up with
That was the connection there.
Yeah, well, plus we'd crossed paths with Marcia. We'd done shows with Marcia.
Okay.
We'd done a few shows with her.
Yep.
And she was huge back then. Massive, absolutely massive.
Who was the bass player?
Harry Bruce,
Okay.
old mate Harry.
Yeah.
So that was my entry into Sydney. So Sydney was always the slightly bigger town out of Sydney, Melbourne. There's this duopoly, you know, this competition always. Melbourne always considered that it had the slightly hipper music scene, and it still does.
Still does, yeah.
But Sydney was the New York, if you like, and, you know, true or false, it's all perception. But certainly then, 79, 80, there were some big things coming out of Sydney. Marcia, John English. I got offered a tour with Mark Hunter from Dragon, from NZ.
Yeah.
He'd just done his first solo album. What's it called? Do you remember?
No.
Was it Fiji Bitters?
No, I can't remember.
I forget the name of it. And I couldn't do that for reasons I can't remember, but then I got offered Marcia. So that got me into Sydney.
Right.
And then I started doing studio sessions in Sydney. And that was very exciting for a boy from the suburbs.
Yeah.
You know? And you start to make some sensible money doing that stuff.
Yeah.
You know? And you get really good at the craft. Having to go in and play something that you heard for the first time 5 minutes ago, and
and all the way through,
top to bottom, no mistakes.
Yeah.
Get it right, mate.
Yeah.
So I got pretty good at that, and the better part of all of that was playing on really good records, you know. But after Marcia, I was with Marcia for just over 6 months, and then I got a phone call. It was a real serious phone call. It was from Tommy Emmanuel, and he asked me to join the John Farnham band. So I was in northern New South Wales when I picked up that call on my phone answering machine with a beeper. Remember the beepers? You'd make a call from a payphone and stick the beeper in, and fantastic, you know. It would play your messages back. I'll never forget it. Sam, it's Tommy Emmanuel. I want you to join the Farnham band. Can you? How soon can you get back to me? So I called him back straight away. I said, mate, I'm on the way back to Sydney now. Booked a flight to Melbourne.
Yeah.
So that was intense. That was fantastic. That was end of the last 3 months of 1980. And that Farnham band comprised also the great David Jones on drums, who we'll talk about a bit more.
Yep.
David was already a friend of mine from Melbourne from earlier years. Very good, very dear friend. Tommy had picked up on David, and I don't know how, I can't remember, but he loved what David did. And we had Barry Sullivan on bass, who was a Melbourne giant, just one of the great bass players, full stop. So it was a cracking band, and two female backing vocalists, Kim Collins and Nikki Nichols. It was a screaming band, that one. It was just every single show went higher than the one before. Farnham was just, my God, guy's energy.
Yeah, what a voice, eh?
What a voice, but what a focus, what a performance focus.
Oh, right.
Stagecraft.
Right.
That slightly cabaret, sure, but just power, you know.
Yeah.
And certainty, absolute certainty. And he was having the greatest time because for the first time in his career, he had his own band, and it was a great band. He'd never had that before, see, because he'd just been doing clubs and turning up at a club with a bunch of charts and, you know, Russian roulette.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a very exciting thing, and that went through all of 1981. Tommy left about mid-year and was replaced by the very, very capable Sam C, who was a whole other energy, but a very good energy as well. Sam was a good writer and player, and I saw him recently for the first time in years. It was so good to catch up and have a really good chat. And that band would have continued, except that John got a call. Mm. Everyone gets a call, don't they?
Yeah.
It's business.
Yeah.
That phone call happens.
That phone call, yeah.
Changes everything.
You haven't got mine yet, but... I'm just kidding.
Stay with it.
Never change. No,
Don't give up.
No.
So John got a call. Who did he get a call from, do you reckon?
Little River Band. I had to think about that for a second.
Yeah. And it's fantastic how things happen. I got a call from John's tour manager, March of '82. Sam, you up for doing some more dates with John? I said, yeah, sure, Richard, fantastic. Where you been, man? Thought this was over or something. Mm. I'll get back to you tomorrow with the dates. Gets back to me the next day, not with the dates. Oh, John's joining LRB. Oh. See you, bye. It's all over.
Yeah, just like that again. Huh?
Just like that. And no debrief.
Yeah.
No thanks guys, it's been great. No party, no sort of drinks and canapes and...
Kicking the nuts and off you go, yep.
Sort of, yeah. And you know, I mean, I didn't think of it like that then, and I don't particularly now. I certainly don't overthink it. Mm-hmm. But I was talking to Sam C about this actually, and it's a bit interesting because you do feel stuff, you know. It's a bit rough. Would have been nice if there'd been a polite phone call or two.
Right.
But hey, it's showbiz.
Yeah.
And you get on with it. You move on.
Mm.
And I had a very depressing year after that.
Yeah, right.
I worked with some people I won't bother naming, and it just was like, not bad people, but just, this isn't what I want to do. This is not what I do.
Right.
Right? This is not...
Were you just doing that stuff just to get paid type thing?
Yeah, I was just being a professional musician, that's all.
Yep.
But after that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because the Farnham thing was a thrill.
But yes, yeah.
It was a big thrill.
Yeah.
We knew we opened for Stevie, April '81. Mm. We did Melbourne, Sydney, Perth. And, you know, no one upstages Stevie, but I tell you what, Farnham freaked people out.
Yeah.
We freaked everyone out. It was very strong, you know. Yeah. And Stevie noticed, I can tell you. Mm. And he got us up to jam with the band at the end. It was incredible. It was amazing. Yeah. David and I have to tell you, David and I went and met Stevie Wonder, David Jones and I. Yeah. And I can't remember how we pulled it off. We were in Perth and we went and talked our way past his security guy. We went and sat down with the guy and talked for half an hour in his apartment. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
It was trippy. It was absolutely trippy.
Nobody else in the room?
Nope.
No.
And I distinctly remember thinking that this guy, Stevie Wonder, he's in another trajectory altogether.
Right.
He's just in a good way, obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's tripped out, man. He's a space cadet.
Right. Okay.
Like he's really. Oh, that's
What was?
that's the window. It's the window and the wind.
Yeah. Right.
Good sound, isn't it?
Scared the shit out of me. It's
Yeah,
right,
I know, it's a
right
weird
in my left
noise.
ear.
Just the breeze caught it. Maybe it's Stevie.
He's still alive though, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, yeah.
But what an artist. What can you say? There's no point saying anything.
Indeed.
But meeting the guy is interesting because you come into the presence of this guy and you feel his energy and you realise this guy is in another orbit to most humans.
Yep.
You can use the word genius, you know.
Yep. A
Genius.
lot of people said that about Prince as well.
I've got no doubt Prince was a genius.
Yeah.
No question.
No, but just on this, he just lived in this other world in his head that I think a lot of people didn't understand.
Do you know, here's one example that I heard of. When they were touring Australia, Stevie had a massive anvil case full of 2-inch tapes.
Mm.
He'd go record after every show.
Right, okay.
They'd just hire studios every city they were in.
Yeah, yeah.
Constantly recording.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amassing material.
Yeah, yeah.
Songs.
I think that's fairly common too with a lot of...
I think Prince did that a lot too.
Yeah.
So, point is, there's so much creativity going on with these people.
Yeah.
It's just unending.
He's got to catch it all.
Imagine the cost of carting around a massive anvil case full of 2-inch, those 2-inch tapes.
Yeah. But now artists just take the studios with them.
Well, of course, all the technology's changed,
Yeah.
but that's a hell of a financial investment to make sure that Stevie can record whenever and wherever he wants.
Yeah.
So that was great, but the next year after that, so after Farnham, a not great year, and then I got a call. See? The call again.
Get the call.
Get the call.
Yeah.
From a guy that I'd been doing some studio sessions with called Mark Moffat. You may not know his name. He was an ex-Melbourne guy who decamped to Sydney, like so many people do. He was working at Festival, and he'd gotten the new Tim Finn album from the Ends.
Mm-hmm.
The Ends they hadn't split up then.
Yeah.
They did their last album after Tim's album actually, but that was a great project to do.
Mm.
And I didn't play piano. I played synthesizers.
Right.
Tim played piano.
Right.
And they brought in Richard T to play Rhodes piano on a couple of tracks. But I played on all the beds, on all the basic tracks,
Right.
with my big synth rig, 3 or 4 or 5 instruments.
Mm.
That was great. And I felt like I was back in the game again. I was being at my creative best.
Right.
Doing music I loved, being creative with sounds and parts. Because that's what I love doing, you see. Parts, musical parts, rhythmic parts, melodic parts, and just really feeling like you're contributing to the songs and to the recordings. Hey, that's what
all about.
that's what you're there for. You know? That was a great record, and that was a very successful record. So I toured with Tim in '86, a couple of years after that album. There was another album that I didn't do. But keeping with the Kiwis, get another call, Sharon O'Neill.
Oh, right.
You must remember Sharon from back home, right?
Yep.
So I worked with Sharon for a long time, several different bands and tours and eras and albums. She was huge in '83.
Yeah.
Like massive. She was the biggest female artist.
Mm-hmm.
So that was again back into the real big time again. Mm-hmm. And I'd been doing some other great creative projects in Sydney recording projects. One was a group called the Vita Beats, who Andrew and Lissa Barnum, who are really good friends of mine still. And I had to pull away from that because I got this call. It's one of those ones you can't say no to.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, so 83, 84, we did a lot of runs with Sharon. We did NZ a couple of times.
Yep.
We did one 3-week tour of NZ.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I remember it was September. We went down to, what's the place down south? Invercargill.
Invercargill, yeah.
We went to Invercargill.
Yep.
It's the coldest place on earth.
Yeah.
But that was a fun tour.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what happens when you've got two things? A good band of good musicians, plus you're doing a ton of shows. Guess what happens? It just gets better and better.
Yeah, I was going to say...
It gets better and better. Because...
And you get fucking good.
That's right. It's taken me 40 years to work this out, but bands get great when they play a lot.
Mm.
Songs get well played when they get played a lot. You got to play them right.
Mm.
You got to play well, but it's a pretty basic principle.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the big touring bands and shows where that's why we get knocked out when we go see Whitney or Shaka Khan or John Legend or any of these people, because these people have done a ton of shows. By the time they land here, they're playing their butts off, and they just know the songs inside out, and the arrangements are so nicely distilled, and they've messed with stuff, and so-and-so's thought up a great part here, and the musical director's hip, and he said, yeah, let's do that, and
the
they've developed the endings,
and the comps are just great,
all that stuff, you know?
Yep.
You can only get to that when you've played stuff a lot.
Yep. We were talking about Toto earlier, and that's what I remember.
Yeah.
The last two tour, I didn't go to this last show, but I went to the two before that, and it was at the end of their run, and like you said, because the end of their run, and they played so much, they were on, man, they were fucking awesome.
But then I've just realised I collided with Tommy Emmanuel again with Sharon.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he played with Sharon?
Played drums with Sharon.
Really?
Yes.
Fuck.
Didn't you know that?
I didn't know that, no.
Hell yeah. He's a hell of a drummer.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
So Tommy, being the shy and retiring type that he is, there was one run we did, it was Sharon O'Neill and Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine how staunch that would be.
Yeah.
Tommy was on drums with Sharon, and he played guitar with Dragon.
Right.
So moving along, many things happened in the 80s. I mean, the 80s was... God, there's a lot of great music in the 80s that, A, that happened, and B, that in Sydney, Australia, that I had a fair bit to do with, I can say.
Yeah.
But Tommy asked me to play in his own band. He put his, as far as I'm aware, his first actual band of his own, the Tommy Emmanuel Band, 87, 88. We did a bunch of shows at the Basement. Did you ever see the old Basement?
Yeah.
What year did you say you first came here?
94.
No, it was before that.
Oh, right, okay.
Because the new Basement, the one that
Raby Place,
was well, yes, but there was another Basement in Raby Place before that.
Oh, is that right?
The original one.
I didn't
the
know
one
that.
you know is not the original Basement.
Oh, right, okay.
There was another building literally down the road, down that street.
Down that lane.
Yeah. And that finished actually at the end of 88, the end of that year. And there was no Basement in Sydney like there isn't now.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later. We won't talk about it actually.
Okay.
We'll keep it up vibe.
Yeah.
So Tommy did a series of shows at the Basement, and I was in that enterprise. Boy, that was incredible. One version had David Jones on drums, Leon Gare on bass, Jim Kelly on guitar as well, and several great vocalists. Another version had Mitch Farmer, who you must know.
Yep.
Mitchell on drums and Victor.
Yep.
on bass.
I don't know Mitch. I know of Mitch.
Mitchell's
He lives
just,
around the corner from me.
just that highest level.
Yeah, yeah.
You should talk to Mitchell. He's a beauty. Very good man. Very, very good musician.
Mm-hmm.
So it was great to be asked to play with Tommy in this new thing of his, where Tommy's such a deep musician. He has so much that he wants to say, so much that he wants to present. So this band at the Basement in 1988 was like a musical carnival. I mean, it was insane, I'm trying to think of who else was in it, but Shauna Jensen was up front on vocals. Adrian Payne, Rick Price did some gigs.
Yep.
So it was all singing, all dancing. It was phenomenal. And I suppose as a result of that, I then went on to work with Tommy in 89, 90, 91, 92 with a slightly more refined version of that band. Yeah, that was the birth of the Tommy Emmanuel band.
Right.
And so what did we do? A couple of runs, Brisbane, we did some Melbournes, I think. Not so much Melbourne. It was mainly Sydney. I don't know why we didn't tour more, actually. Probably because Tommy was doing too well in the studios here and didn't want to leave town too much.
Okay. Yep.
Whatever. But he started recording too, and recording with serious budgets. And he got signed with Sony. And I did the first two albums.
What were they called?
Dare to Be Different.
You played on Dare to Be Different?
Yeah.
Right.
Dare to Be Different was 1990.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was produced...
Did Victor play on that?
I can't remember.
He couldn't remember either, because...
I'm not sure if Victor was on. He might have been on some tracks, but I think Leon Gare played on most of it.
Okay. Yeah.
I've missed something really important, Stevie.
Yeah, go back.
Heard of Air Supply?
Oh, yeah.
1980.
Right.
1980.
I had that.
So,
All Out of Love
45,
45, and they used to just write the words out and just sing it at home.
that's me on piano.
Really?
Yeah. And that's
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I've been listening to you since I
played on that album,
was
and
5, 6 years old.
here's the amazing thing about Air Supply for me. There was a perception that Air Supply were too soft, too cabaret, almost Barry Manilow territory. That, in the rough and tumble of Australian rock pop, Air Supply weren't really taken seriously. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, that's crazy, eh?
Well, it's completely crazy, because what happened? That record went absolutely ballistic in the States, and they weren't seen in Australia again for 15 years, because they were touring the States.
Yep.
So I came dangerously close to being on the road with Air Supply for a very long time.
Right.
There were two keyboardists on that record. I was one of them. Frank Esler-Smith was the other guy, and he ended up being in the live band, and he also and so he should have. Very good musician, but he also did arranging.
Okay.
So they used to use orchestras, small, I think, 8-piece sections whenever they could.
Right. And he kind of pulled that stuff together.
Yeah, but I used to see those guys when they'd be back in Sydney, between long American hauls, like 3-month hauls through Boise, Idaho, and Wisconsin, and Omaha, and back up to Nebraska, and all that stuff. And it was amazing hearing the stories of what it was actually like playing stadiums in the States, one-nighters, tour buses.
Yeah.
A real grind,
Yeah.
Good shows.
Yeah, but everything.
But hard work.
Yep.
Hard work, not all glory,
Yeah. And do you know if those touring musicians were being paid well?
Well, that's
are you privy to that?
I can't say I'm privy.
Yeah.
I'm a bit too discreet, Stevie. I think they got a modest.
Right. Okay.
A modest salary.
Okay.
I think it would be fair to say that it was not commensurate with the gigantic success that Air Supply was.
Okay, that's what I was.
That's
kind of what I was asking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's your answer.
Yep.
But it's cute, that air supply thing, because I was much later into the 90s, and about 97 I was in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, which I've spent a fair bit of time in, and air supply were coming through town. The two front guys, Russell and Graham. And I hadn't seen them for all of those years, 17 years, from 1980 to 97. And I just went down to see them and had a hang, and it was so nice seeing them and stuff, you know. So they did very well, and they're still playing.
Yep.
They're still killing it, you know. But that sort of cultural cringe thing that I suppose I alluded to there, I found that quite amazing, and how pervasive that thinking is. Because I left air supply off my own bio and CV whenever I'd send out stuff, PR stuff. I just automatically deleted air supply. Hang on, mate, you played on one of the biggest selling records of the 1980s.
Yeah.
Why would you not include that?
Yeah.
Isn't it weird?
Yeah.
And it's all just that perception that air supply is not hip or not groovy, you know?
It'll work against you type thing.
Strange.
Yeah.
Strange.
Yeah.
But anyway, these are the things that happen. You know?
Yep.
It's no big deal.
No.
I mean, NXS copped a walloping too.
Yeah.
They were gigantic.
Yeah.
And then they got too big.
Yeah.
And suddenly the darlings of the inner city Sydney, people turn against them and think that they're, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just stupid stuff. So, with Tommy, I mean, I think that I learned a lot about not just music but performance, working with Tommy Emmanuel. Energy, about focus, about every show being killer. You know, watching that guy, he without needing to say a single thing, because he had trust in me, he brought out the best in me. I had to bring my best.
Yeah, right.
Every time with Tommy.
Yeah.
Because the music was so on.
Yeah.
The time was so on.
Yeah.
The time.
Yeah.
Especially time. And so I became a better musician from 5 years of playing with Tommy, definitely. And one of the greatest memories I have of that was opening for Eric Clapton 1990.
Right.
We did Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane. 6 shows. Nathan East.
Yep.
Steve Ferroni.
Oh, was that band? Yeah.
Filling Gaines.
Yeah, okay. So that's
My
the 24.
God.
That's the 24 Nights band, eh?
My God.
Yeah.
What a quartet.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
I'd never heard Eric live.
Right.
I'd missed, I don't know, whatever other things he'd been to Australia with. I'd never heard him live. And I distinctly remember being in Brisbane after we'd done our show. I was out in the auditorium and he launches into one of those Clapton-esque sustains. And I just went, holy shit, and I just went running up the front. I thought, I got to watch this guy like a music fan. You know?
Yeah.
Just wonderful.
Yeah.
Filling Gaines.
Oh,
What a dancer.
Yeah.
He's a dancer.
Big dancer. Good singer too.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What a cat.
Yeah.
You know his story?
Not really. No.
You know his first gig? Stevie Wonder. Stevie called him at home.
Right.
Someone gave him a tape. Someone gave Stevie a tape of this guy from Detroit. He grew up in Detroit.
Right.
He talks about it in his master classes, you know.
Right. Yeah.
He spent years with Stevie.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So there's mentorship going on, isn't there? You know, the greats mentor other musicians, and you know, a lot of the keyboardists that are so important to me that I've learnt from George Duke, Chick Corea, Herbie Hancock. Chick and Herbie both came up through the Miles Davis School. George came up through the Frank Zappa School. And I first saw George Duke live in Tokyo in 2004. And I was crying, man. I was just overwhelmed. He was there, I was here.
Right.
At the Blue Note.
Right.
At the Blue Note,
Mm-hmm.
which is like the basement, but slightly more upmarket.
Mm.
Smallish.
Mm.
Maybe a little larger than the basement, but not much larger.
Yep.
I only saw one show. I didn't see repeat shows, but I knew what to expect. I
Yeah.
knew it was exactly what I thought it would be. But the feeling of watching this guy who, by that point, I'd been listening to him for how long? 20 years.
Right.
20 years I'd been listening to this guy, and for the first time I got to see him play live with all of the energy that entails,
Mm-hmm.
and the personality. You know, it's not just the music. It's never just the music. It's the personality. It's the vibe. It's the fun.
Yep.
It's the performance.
Yep.
And you know what I did? I was the last to leave the building.
Yeah.
I went backstage. I went back to the dressing room. I got chummy with Shannon Pearson, his female backing vocalist, who was just lovely, incredible vocalist and a lovely, lovely girl. And I said, "Can I please meet George? I'm from Australia. I must meet him." He said, "Oh, sure. Yeah, just sit here and just wait for him to come in. He's doing signing out the front hill."
Yeah.
And he came in and I went and walked straight up and said, "George, I've come from Australia to see you. I've been listening to you for 20 years." You know. It's a beautiful moment. You know?
Yeah.
Not much else to say.
Yeah.
Just all that thing of
Yeah. Yeah. See, I'll tell my George Duke. It's nothing like that. But the first I heard of George Duke wasn't through actual albums or anything that he played on, but Native Instruments brought out that George Duke Treasures
yes.
set for Contact,
Mm-hmm.
and it was in one of the box sets that I got, and I'm like, and you kind of, it's all these samples, and you can put the samples in different spots and
Right.
move the samples around. So
Really?
yeah. So
God.
you know, it's got that
wow.
sound. Yeah, it's really, really cool.
I've not heard
I'll
that.
send you a link to it when I.
That's
when I-
amazing.
But anyway, so that was my first, George Duke sounds that I'd heard. Now, probably 18 months ago, I may have said this on a podcast before, but anyway, I might say it again. Calvin Welsh posted a video up of George Duke live version of Sweet Baby,
Yes.
and I cried my eyes out. Eh?
Yeah.
I went, whoa!
Yeah.
Because he just finished this up, and he was standing up, and he leans into the microphone and he goes, "Here we go," and then he starts playing the intro to the song.
Yeah.
And then Steve Ferroni's on drums
Yeah.
in the live band.
Yes.
Lewis Johnson's playing bass.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who the other band is, but yeah, I just the solo in that piano solo, and he just.
I think I know the version you mean.
And he just.
I think I know the version you mean. So it was 80s. It was 80s, was it?
Yeah, it's an old VHS recording. That's
Yeah,
on
I think
YouTube.
I know the one you mean.
I'll send you the link to it.
Yeah,
but
I think I saw that.
blew me away.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable.
He's unending. These people, that you never get to the end of how great they are.
Yeah. And then I found the whole concert on YouTube, so I ended up watching all of that. And then
Wasn't it Japan? Wasn't it?
might have been Japan.
I think it was Japan.
Yeah.
Because he was a major, like he was getting major R&B hits, you know,
Yeah.
in the early 80s,
Yeah.
early mid-80s.
That song.
That was big.
Sweet Baby.
And he
Yeah,
had
that
a
was
few
with-
others
It was
too.
with Stanley Clark, I think.
Yes.
That song
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So that was my sort of introduction to George Duke. So anyway, back to you.
Look, he's a major boss. Did you see George Duke Stanley Clark at the Opera House
No.
in 08?
No.
It was never not going to be good.
Mm.
Wasn't the best.
Right.
There was a bit of a lack of, not the greatest song choice, I think.
All
There was
right.
a bit of filler material in the show.
Right. You think they just sort of got chucked a whole bunch of money and just let's just cruise over.
Look, I hate to say this. How can I do this, Steve? It sounded like they worked it out on the back of an envelope on the flight over. It really did.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
And you know, but here's the thing. It's a good thing when you realise that these giants are not infallible too. They have shows that aren't their best shows, and like I say, it's never going to be bad. But maybe that wasn't George at his best. Something might have happened that we don't know about.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to overthink it.
Yeah.
But I got a nice picture of me with him in the foyer of the Opera House from then too.
Yeah, that's cool.
Massive love, massive affection. And we did a George Duke tribute show in 2013.
Oh, right.
Did you ever go to the Blue Beat?
I didn't go to the Blue Beat, no.
In Double Bay?
No.
You heard about it?
Oh, yeah.
It was a wonderful club that Chris Richards from the Basement was running for a while.
Yep.
Unfortunately, it wound up because of reasons I don't actually know. Doesn't matter. But because George Duke passed away in 2013.
Okay.
August the 5th. November we did a tribute to him, a whole bunch of us. Christopher Zoulos on bass, Noel Elmoe on keyboards and myself with an engine room of it. We had Dave Plenty on drums, who's a great mate and a wonderful musician. Bunch of good people, and that was a special show. We rehearsed it for 13 weeks.
Right.
Wednesdays for, I think, 12. Wednesdays for 12 weeks. So we nearly got it to that point we were talking about before. Where, you know,
Yep.
but the music demanded to be played so well, otherwise, you know, it's not worth doing it.
Doing it justice.
Not all of the stuff is really difficult, not at all, not by any means, but probably 50% of it or more required some real serious playing.
Yep.
And real serious familiarity, you know. So I think we got it pretty good. You know, we all felt, hey, wouldn't it be great if we had a double header, doing this tomorrow as well. So second show will be that much better. So
could always bring it back again.
Well, we've thought of it, but it's pretty heavy on the staff. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of singers.
Oh, right.
Brother Craig Calhoun did a couple of songs.
Yep.
Barry Leaf was in the vocal team. It's pretty heavy, big numbers, you know. A lot of people to coordinate. We've talked about it many times. How can we put on that show with, you know, half to 2/3 as many?
Oh, right.
Yes, it's possible, but it's still energy intensive to pull off something like that, you know. You've got to be able to fit it in amongst other things that you might be doing, and, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing, eh?
Yeah, otherwise if it becomes too hard you just go, no, I don't want to do it because I know that I'm not going to be able to get chunks of time and energy to bring it to the level that I really want it to be at.
Fair enough.
You know?
Yep.
So it's a hard call, that one.
Yep. Who are some of your other influences, keyboard influences?
Well, many people, of course. Those people I named are enduring influences. 40 years plus.
Yeah.
You know, you'd think I'd move on by now, wouldn't you?
Why?
To me, they're still the best.
Why? Yeah.
I pull up stuff on YouTube now of Herbie from I don't know, 3 years ago, 2015, 16, or maybe 2005, and I'm still staggered.
Yeah.
I'm still learning stuff from this same guy.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing newer people like Robert Glasper and who's a man from groups like Snarky Puppy. I'm hearing all this stuff. Yeah, they're cool. But I'm not hearing anything that's beating these guys.
Right.
Really. Not that it's a competition. There are some other truly great jazz pianists that I hear sometimes. But I like the funk R&B people, the dedicated funk R&B people. Phil Gaines is just the penultimate rhythm section guy.
Right.
Just the perfect stuff.
Yep.
So for me, as a musician, if I'm talking about jazz guys, I spend a very, very small percentage of my musical life doing jazz or jazz fusion or jazz funk. Most of my musical life I work with singers.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, right? It's pretty obvious. But guess what? I love it. So my job is to make the environment for the vocal the best that I can.
Yeah.
And that's what I take pride in doing. So to answer your question, you know, I listen to a lot of good playing in good ensemble parts. I can't think of any. I can't think of a lot of names other than someone like Phil Gaines, but so many good records I've heard over so many years where I hear the parts. I hear the parts that are going on, and I think that's cool.
Mm.
That just works so well. And I think that I've been influenced by that a great deal, you know. You know, the working with singers thing is big for me. I get incredible pleasure working with people like Diana and Joe Elms and Prenny Stevens and Simone Waddell and Mitch Anderson. I'm in heaven when I'm playing behind these people. Because I want to be a singer, but I can't. So
That's cool.
I can't sing.
Yeah.
But I'm living that. I'm actually experiencing that vocal. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do.
I think everyone responds to voice.
Yep.
Don't they?
Mm-hmm.
That's a real truism with music. So as a musician, I respond to voice, and so I spend a lot of my musical life thinking about songs and music, and that's why we're doing the show a couple of weeks.
Yep.
My favourite songs. It's literally that.
Yep.
That thought.
Oh,
bubble.
this is your show.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, I want to do a show with my favourite songs with these people. Huh?
Hang on, I'm just picking up the flyer.
Because you know we'll do some favourites,
Yep.
some things that we've played lots that are just really fun to play.
Yep.
But a really good song list, you know.
Tell me about L.L. Smith.
Laura Lee Smith is part of the Doug Williams band.
Oh, okay.
We haven't even
right.
talked about Doug yet.
Yeah.
I need to give him a serve.
For sure.
She's wonderful.
Yep.
She's a new girl on the block comparatively.
Yep.
Sings beautifully well. Fantastic band person.
Uh-huh.
We have another great girl too named Sarah Mono, who's also great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people that can be part of a band and really work with a band dynamic are very special people, you know.
Yep.
These are some of the best musicians, the people that can do that.
Yeah.
You know, they're not me first, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But can I talk about Doug Williams?
Yeah, I was about to say, let's talk about Doug.
So
That's the first time we hadn't met until today, but that's the first time I saw you, because I used to go out and see John play, because John and I mates.
Johnny.
Yep.
Such a good boy, Johnny.
Yep. Top man.
He plays.
Hey?
He plays so busy,
Oh yeah. Yep.
but it's so great.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I heard someone comment on, not on him, but on so-called busy drummers. Drummers that play a lot.
Yep.
As opposed to drummers that, you know,
Yep.
might be your pocket a
Pocket
little bit
players,
more.
Yep.
And the thing that someone said was that if the subdivisions are accurate and beautiful,
Yeah.
it's just,
Yeah.
how can it not work, you
that's
know?
it.
Of course, there's got to be artistry in that as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
But
Australia's Vinnie Colaiuta, that some people call him, mate.
Johnny,
Yeah.
he's
He's
fantastic.
fantastic, alright?
He's fantastic.
Yep.
I just so enjoy playing with John, and I always compliment him because I wouldn't say he doesn't have confidence, but he's not cocky,
Yeah,
not at all.
indeed.
He's pretty humble about what he does, you
Sure
know.
is.
And if anything, I rev him up by saying, "You killed it, Johnny." You know, it's just so. I think John owes a lot in his musicianship to playing with Doug Williams for a long time.
Yep.
Because that is a great drums and bass combination too.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
Yep.
Dougie doesn't certainly doesn't overplay,
Mm-hmm.
and the time thing is so on.
Yep, and
All the
the
time.
hits are on, the accents are on.
So on.
Yep.
Every time.
Yep.
There's no doubt where the time is.
Yep.
And so
listen to the Johnny Adams episode, people, if you haven't.
yeah, it's a good one. That's the first one I heard.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Enjoyed what he had to say, and of course he learned a massive amount from Mark too, Mark Kennedy.
Oh yeah.
See, I used to see Mark back in like 73.
Okay.
Just way back, in Melbourne.
Yeah.
But no, Doug is just such a great musician and singer and front man. This is the other thing that he's got. He knows how to talk to an audience, because he brings that legacy of that American black soul showbiz thing.
Mm-hmm.
He has that in droves, naturally, and he's morphed that into his own way in Australia, and he's been here a long time now, so he knows how to front any Australian audience.
Mm.
So I've been with Doug for very, very long time, and he's now a member of Stylus too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right.
He's
okay.
been playing with Stylus since 2015.
Right. Okay.
So that's 2012. That old
Oh,
person.
that picture. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's before he joined the band.
Right.
That's the original bass player,
Right.
Ashley Henderson,
Okay.
who's no longer able to play with us, unfortunately, due to health reasons. But I mean, Doug and I have such a good relationship, such an easy relationship. We just never ever have.
It's what you want.
We just never ever have a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, we just don't, I mean, sometimes crazy stuff happens. Just music business stuff. I mean, happens that means we have to discuss some things, but there's never yell at each other.
Yeah.
Never ever.
Yeah.
I can honestly say I've never ever had an unpleasant conversation with the guy.
Yeah. Good.
Just haven't. Maybe it's me. I don't know. Maybe I've got a problem. You don't need to yell at people.
Yeah.
And I think actually you need to not yell at people.
Yeah. Okay.
I seriously think that if I'm a successful musician, then part of the trick is being nice to people. Being nice, and genuinely nice, not faking it.
Yep.
Getting along with people. It's pretty basic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you can figure out how to do that, you'll have a long life.
Yeah.
But Doug's an easygoing guy, man. He just, he doesn't do stress. He doesn't get stressed.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish he'd work harder sometimes. You won't mind me saying that. Hey, I'd like to push myself harder too.
Mm.
This is part of the problem of Australia, isn't it? It's a comfortable life here.
Mm.
We don't have to work that hard here.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
So you can get away with a lot of stuff here and not work too hard, not stress yourself. I don't mean stress, but you really have to push yourself to be incredibly excellent
Right.
here,
Mm.
Where perhaps, living in New York or LA, you'd be surrounded by so much brilliance that you, by default you'd have to rise to that mean average. I don't want to pitch here against there.
Yeah.
That's an old argument. That's an old rave, But Dougie's great. He's just got a groove like no one else, and he's just a heck of a singer.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think I know a male singer that sings
Yes.
quite as consistently well as he does. If I've done 300 gigs with Doug, I've never heard him sing off key once.
Right.
Seriously.
That's impressive.
He just can't sing out of key,
Yeah.
off key, and he never oversings. he sings the song every time.
Yeah. Now, you've got a Mark Costa story, have you?
Oh, it's no big deal story.
Oh, yeah.
You'll love this.
Yeah.
When I started playing my own music, I'll just do a bit of backtracking.
Yep.
I did my first album in 1981. Came out in 82, called First Chance. I wish I could give you a copy, but I don't have. This is my fifth album, this one, from 2005.
Yep.
David Jones is on this first album. There's some pretty hefty jazz fusion explorations on this record. It would be another 10 years before I would dare to play my own music live. Does that sound strange?
A little bit.
It's just confidence.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't realise it.
Right.
I just thought, no, I don't want to play my own stuff.
Okay.
No one wants to come and hear me play 10 or 12 compositions of mine.
Right.
Yeah? It's that thing.
Yep.
So early 90s, I released an album called Spellbound on a label, what was it called? Through a major label. I forget who it was. But Chris Richards at the Basement gave me a few dates, a couple of dates. Thank you very much, Chris. I got Marcia Costa to play the bass. Mark turns up to my apartment in Glebe to run down the tunes. Not a scrap of paper. He just knew them all in there.
In the head, yeah.
I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that.
Yeah.
Not just the fact that he knew the stuff and he remembered it, but that he liked the music enough to bother to that it was easy for him to remember it. And again, I didn't overthink it at the time, but I just thought, hey, that's pretty cool. Maybe this stuff. And he would have no clue about this, but he probably gave me a real lot of extra confidence. Just that, one of the musicians that's going to play with me thinks this stuff's pretty good. That was very nice of him.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I really love that attention to detail, But, there are other people that are good like that too. Peter Northcote's like that. He's that sort of musician. Peter's just, you give him some music to learn, he'll be all over it.
Right.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Learning music is a bit of a thing. Learning songs, and it's something I've kicked my own butt with a bit in the last couple of years. If I've got a repertoire to learn it properly. Make sure, timeline it. The date's then, it's a couple of weeks down the road, you've got enough time to get in and out of this stuff.
Yep.
Play it lots of times, look at the charts. If there aren't charts, make your own, figure it out, get the keys sorted and do it, know. It's a bit of work.
Yeah.
It's a bit of work, but it's very satisfying when you know that you get on that gig and you're on top of it.
Yeah.
Some things are harder than others, obviously, So, 90s, after being with Tommy, Tommy relocated to Melbourne and started using a different band, a Melbourne-based band. I started doing a lot of other own projects, just things of my own, like playing at the Basement. And the Basement was very important to me because for my own music, I don't think there's another venue that I would have played more times than the Basement. Probably done 25 gigs there,
right,
doing my own stuff.
Yeah.
And that, it might sound odd, but it's a very different deal playing your own music than playing someone else's music and you're the sideman. It's a very different psychology, and you get nervous, you get edgy, What if no one turns up?
Yeah.
We had a good one one time, I think it was 95. Chris Richards, he won't mind me saying this if he's listening to this. He decided to put Henry Rollins on before me. Right? I know it was either Monday
In
or
his
Tuesday.
band or is it doing his talk?
Just solo.
This is the solo.
Yeah.
Right.
So you got Sam McNally and his band doing the jazz fusion thing,
And then you got...
but you got Henry Rollins before that. How do you reckon that's going to fly?
Yeah.
Right? So, what can I say? All right, Chris. But here's what I thought. Here's what I think's really funny in hindsight. I thought I went glass half full with the thing. I thought, well, you know, he's going to have a full house. So maybe, I don't know, 20% of his people might just hang around for my show.
Yep.
You know, that's good. That'll double my crowd. Not one Henry Rollins punter stayed. The room was completely stripped bare. So we went on 2 hours late and to about 7 people.
Right.
It's great. But you know, that's okay.
Yeah.
This is the stuff that makes you strong, Stevie.
Indeed. Indeed.
So I did a lot of basements with various configurations of my band. Very often with a guest singer as well,
Yeah.
because I love the vocal component. Peter was on guitar more times than not. Marky Costa on bass a lot of the time. David Jones played sometimes when he was available. And Davey started working with James Morrison then.
Mm-hmm.
So he got real busy.
Mm.
No, sorry, not James Morrison. This Don Burrows,
Right.
who meant that word again, mentor. He mentored James Morrison.
Right, okay.
So we had some good nights at the basement, definitely. Got loud. There's no folk review, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It was a... Did you ever hear the Dave Weckl band
Mm-hmm.
in that early 90s?
Late
Late 90s, early 00s.
Yeah. I went and saw the Synergy album played when the Synergy album came out. This is Weckl, Mark Kennedy playing bass. Brandon Fields was playing saxophone.
It's killer. It's
and
killer stuff.
Buzz
Fenton
playing
Really?
guitar. That's it. Yeah.
Is that
That's
right?
it. Yes.
God,
And,
I didn't know he played with
I think I've
Weckl.
even told this story before, but yeah, I got wind that they were coming to town, and I think I was one of the first people to call and book tickets. So me and my
Bang
mate,
in front.
right, smacking Dave's bass drums right there.
Yeah.
So all night right
Yeah.
there, you know, could see him up just through there, and Mark Kennedy's
See him
there.
doing his own mix.
Does his own mix, yeah.
How
This
fanatical is that
back
guy,
with
man?
the giant Yamaha.
Yep.
It's very compact now.
Yep.
But I think he's always done that.
Did he send out a stereo pair for the house? Is that
Not
how
much.
he used to do it?
Not sure.
Or maybe 4 or something.
Yeah, not sure.
I mean, what a perfectionist that guy is.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
Yep.
Just the reason he comes to mind is that, you know, I mean, me and my group, I'm not going to say we're as good as Weckl, but we were playing in the same environment anyway. And, you know, the basement, and we did Melbourne, we did the Continental, what was it called? Continental Cafe in Melbourne. We had a big fat sound, you know. It was strong like that, and you know. So I remember seeing Weckl at that venue in Melbourne, and I think it was the best sound I'd ever heard.
Right.
Certainly for an instrumental band.
You're right. Yeah.
It was so fantastically good sounding.
Yeah.
Loud,
Yep.
but clean,
But clear. Yeah.
and just the frequencies were just magnificent.
Yeah.
Just couldn't be better.
Yeah.
It was absolutely hi-fi. So, I mean, whatever heights I might have been able to get to with me and my band, that was the benchmark.
Yeah. Right.
That was the stuff that that was exciting me, that I was listening to.
Yeah.
You know, and all Marky Costa and all these people that were with me. We're listening to that stuff. We're listening to some pretty serious stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And it can't not have an effect on your own sense of bringing your best, you know. Sometimes your own confidence becomes a threat.
Right.
I wrote that down as a thing I wanted to talk about, because confidence is a real thing, and if you reckon you never have any doubts in your own confidence, you're probably lying. You know, you're probably fooling yourself. On the other hand, it's healthy to recognise those moments or that part of the self which might trigger a lack of confidence. What I've learnt in my story is that it's a very, very, very long and very gradual upward curve, a growth curve, to reaching a point of where you're pretty good, you're confident. You might feel pretty edgy before you take that stage to do your own show, but something else kicks in. Something else kicks in, and I'm really fascinated by that other thing. That thing that kicks in, that says, it's showtime, we're on. Bang. And there's a few times in recent years where I've laughed at myself, where I've realised I'm not feeling very good. I'm not feeling this at all. I really don't want to be on stage in half an hour. I want to go home. I want to go shopping. I'm not digging this at all. If I could cancel this show, I would cancel it now. Am I going mad? What is this shit, you know? It's just stupid. But the downbeat, off we go.
Yeah.
And it's all good.
It's on, yeah.
It's not only good, it's great.
Yeah.
And something in my mind happens where I go, see, you doubted yourself again. When are you going to learn that what you're doing is good, what you're doing is for the right reasons, and you've got your great people with you? Just enjoy the ride and do your best. Yeah. And you know what? I had a wonderful conversation with Tommy last year, I think I mentioned, 2018, August. We talked for 2 hours. And it was the loveliest conversation I've had with Tommy Emmanuel in the how long have I known him? Nearly 40 years. Yeah, 40 years. 79 I first met him.
Yeah.
The best conversation we have ever had, by a long margin. We talked about a bunch of stuff. You know, kids, babies, families, travel, Australia, America, guitar, piano, different musicians. He played some things in his room. I was in his hotel room.
Yeah.
Just the two of us, mucking around. I didn't play. I didn't have an instrument. I didn't want to play. I just wanted to listen to him. But I threw a question at him. Just dropped into my head. I said, do you ever feel unconfident? Do you ever not? Do you ever feel, I think the word I used was awkward. Do you ever suddenly find yourself feeling really awkward and you just don't know how you're going to be on the stage in 5 minutes? And he sort of laughed it off and said, no, not really, but I think he was lying. I think yes, of course I do, mate. But, you know, he throws it off very quickly and dispenses with it. We all have moments of delicateness, fragility, right? We're human beings. There are things going on in our lives. There are things that I don't understand. There are feelings that I have that make me uncomfortable sometimes. And a guy like Tommy, he specialises in being that showman, that show pony. When he hits the stage, it's on for young and old, man, like no one can do. Not only is he obviously a musician of immeasurable skill and talent and diversity and so much more, but he's also a showman, you know, in a natural way. I mean, I'm not a scintilla of what he is as a showman, but I've picked up some stuff. I've picked up a way to talk to an audience, to feel good on a stage, to get a sense of momentum with a show, with a run of songs. I've learned a lot of that stuff from Tommy. You know, and I didn't realise that I'd learnt so much from him until recently. I started thinking about it a bit more.
Yeah.
You can't not learn. If you're doing shows with a great showman like that, you learn stuff just from watching, just from being there. It's beautiful. I've got a book I'm writing. It's very far advanced. It's about 22 chapters. So I can't give you a delivery date yet. There's a bit of editing to do.
Yeah.
But it will happen. I'm very enthusiastic about it. I think some of the stories I've come up with are fun, funny, interesting, sometimes quirky, and just a lot of stuff, just a lot of content, you know. I've put up quite a few grabs on Facebook. I don't know if you've seen any of them, over a period of about 5 years, actually.
Okay.
That's how long it's been in process. And it's good that I did that because it gave me a real sense of people's interest in the stuff that I've got to say.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Because really I was quite amazed by the comments and the amount of commentary and the stuff that people were saying.
Yeah, it can really feed you, that's for sure.
Pardon?
It can feed you, that's for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's just...
It can bury you as well.
yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the conundrum of social media, isn't it?
Yep.
You say stuff and it's Russian roulette.
Absolutely.
You're going to get some approvals and likes, and you're going to get some people who might go you about this or about that. It's okay. Got to be a big tough guy, you know.
Yep.
It's sometimes it's hard to filter that stuff out, and sometimes you just tire of it. You just don't really want to.
Yeah, that's it.
But you know, my feeling about the age we're in now, the technology age, I think on balance, there's much more good than not good. Don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you can promote yourself more easily now than ever before. You can find a market. You can find people that are going to like what you do more easily than ever.
Yep.
But you've got to be hip with it.
Yep.
You've got to be hip, and you've got to be attentive. You've got to work hard, you know. One quick last thing, if I may.
Of course.
Music education.
Yep.
Big part of what I do.
Oh, you teach? Yep.
Absolutely love it.
Yep.
I learn so much, and the most unlikely things. You know, some piano student that can barely play C major, one hand, one octave, asked me about a chord. What? C7, has he got is the 7 on the top or is it down there? Just a simple question like that. There's 10 minutes of explaining. Well, you can do it like that, or you can do it like that, or now this sounds good, but this actually works better because if this chord comes after it, see how good that sounds, those voices, or maybe something far less complicated than that even.
Yeah.
So many things.
Yeah.
So many things. And for 2 years now I've been doing a bit of work at JMC Academy,
Mm-hmm.
which is just a fantastic music school. It's so good. It's moving fast. It's a lot of forward motion, new things being planned, and I've been putting on shows there. Some of the funnest things I've done. I've been putting on. Sorry, let's grab one of these posters. Lunchtime concerts.
Oh, yep.
And this is such a hoot because
Oh, yeah, I've seen you put these up.
it's so good to put on something really good for the students, you know,
Yeah.
and they love it.
Yeah.
And I've been doing a Q&A component too, so that I ask some curly questions of the incoming guest singer. You know?
That's cool.
And we're having talks about putting on more events there.
That's great.
And some real big people.
That's good.
I can't name yet.
No.
So it's really good. But my own thing with music education goes back a long way. Back in the 90s, I used to do stuff with Oz Music, which was a Victoria-based initiative that had a branch in Sydney. I did a couple of years at AIM, which was very good as well, 2014-15. And after I went to China in 2016, to Shenzhen, China, to open a music school there, I came back and immediately started working at JMC. So I just love it there.
That's great.
We haven't even talked about some of my favourite cities around the world.
Yeah.
That'll have to be another.
Part 2. Yeah. Always time for part 2.
It's, for me, I'll just say this, travel, everyone's different. For me, travel is a non-negotiable. It's absolutely integral in terms of my own, joie de vivre, just the thrill of living.
Yeah.
Visiting other cultures, being around other people, music things obviously. There's mainly people actually, cultures, you know. I've been to Japan so many times. The Japs are so hip.
Mm.
They're so hip with contemporary music stuff too. So, yeah, travel's a big one, you know. We're all travellers.
Yeah.
You're from across the pond.
Yeah.
I'm from down the Hume Highway.
Yeah.
So it's good. You know, music, and look at a guy like Tommy, going back to him. Travel. Does he travel?
Mm.
He'd be one of the most travelled people on the whole planet.
Yeah, right.
Think about that. Think how many times he's been around the globe.
Yeah.
So there's a definite dynamic that for the modern musician, travelling, whether it's locally or internationally or both, it goes with the territory, no pun intended, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just you're playing in different places all the time. You're not playing at home.
Yeah.
So I love that dynamic. I really do. Few things thrill me more than getting on a plane and going to another city, especially to do a show.
Yeah.
You know, I really love that. And, you know, simple thing maybe, but these are the kind of things that thrilled me 40 years ago, and I'm still getting off on it. So
That's great.
I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't feel the slightest bit. I don't mind telling my age. I'm 64 years of age. I feel absolutely as intrigued and beguiled and thrilled by what I do in music now as I did 4 years ago.
Yep.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
That's bloody good.
I never ever feel, you know what, I'm a bit over this.
Yeah.
I do get tempted to think that hauling gear out of the Manly boat shed at 1:45 in the morning, I'm a little bit over that. The physical stuff sometimes is not fun. The trying to get a car parked, the navigating in and out of buildings. I never ever turn up with one keyboard. I always have a rig. I have stuff. I have a lot of stuff, and I insist on that. And sometimes it's hard.
Yep.
That bit's hard.
Yep.
But hey, it's over and done with pretty quickly.
Yep.
It's not a big deal. I think it's so important to keep perspective on that.
Yeah.
That stuff.
Yeah.
And
So-
being grateful.
Yeah.
Just being grateful.
Indeed.
If you can say that you do this even on a semi-professional basis, you need to be grateful for that. It has changed. You can't dance around from the truth. It has changed from the old days. It is definitely more difficult now to be a professional musician than it was certainly in Sydney, Australia, Melbourne, Australia, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I think we've all established that.
Yeah.
I think no one's pretending that it's otherwise.
Mm.
But you can do okay. You can get by. You've got to be pretty crafty, and you've got to figure out how to keep yourself busy and occupied and entertained. You've got to be diverse. You've got to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
I just said today, a mate of mine, how did it get to that I've got to be a video editor, a graphics guy, an audio engineer. I've got about 7 different hats.
Yep.
And varying levels of skill.
Yep.
You've got to do so many different things to keep your thing.
Yep.
Well, simple answer. Enjoy it all, figure it out, and be grateful we've got the toys to do this stuff.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
That's all.
Yeah.
It's been great, Stevie.
Sam, that was awesome, man. And I think from what you're saying, besides maybe the physical stuff, perhaps the best is yet to come.
Hey, I don't want to Skype, but I'm having a damn good time at the moment. Seriously.
No, it's great.
I'm feeling so good about the things that I'm doing. The people that I work with are just magnificent. I just love them so much. I don't know. We don't know the future. I could go under a bus tomorrow.
Yep.
The bus goes out the front of you.
Yep. Yep.
If I should go under a bus, then hopefully I'll be remembered for some good work. I know people dig me. I feel acknowledged. I don't hanker for acknowledgement, and that's lucky.
Yep.
I really love that fact. I feel really grateful for that. So we'll just keep going.
Awesome.
We'll just keep doing the best we can.
Cheers, Sam.
You got it.
Thanks for
having me, Stevie.
Cheers, bud.